Good morning, students. Let's continue from your textbook moments, the supplementary reading, chapter number 3. And yesterday we have the Iswaran, the storyteller by R.K. Lakshman. Yesterday we have completed up to page number 13, where how the Ishwaran had been so talented to tell stories. Even simple things he would narrate in a such a way that he would create lot of interest, lot of suspense, and he would tell the simple things in very so much interesting he would make. And Mahendra at the end of the day, naturally whole day he is tired. At night he would sit there he would listen to the story of Iswaran without any criticism. No criticism, no questioning, not asking any question, just he would listen to him. Up to here we have completed yesterday, and I have put the chapter 3 second part. That means second video it is, okay? Only one part we are having in this story, but then because of, just to distinguish, this is the second part. It means page number 14 onwards. Okay, take your pencil with you. Page number 14. The place I came from is famous for timber. Timber means? Timber is a wood. Sorry, student, one second. Timber is a wood. Here is, you have the timber. What? Timber is a wood. Iswaran would begin. You see, he is telling the story. Again, second story. There is a richly wooded forest all around. Wooded forest means lot of wood in that forest. That is called wooded forest. Lot of trees, probably big, huge trees. The logs are hauled on to the lorries by elephants. Hauled on, pulled on. Hauled is hauled. H-A-U-L-D is a haul is to pulled on to the lorries by elephant. Lorries are trucks, okay, by elephants. You know, in Kerala, they have the elephants as domestic animals. The farmers, these people, they have the elephants for different type of works, and so you see they are using these elephants for what? To bring these logs. Logs are woods. These huge logs, huge trees or wood, they will pull by the elephants to the trucks. They are huge, well-fed beasts. Beasts is they talking about the animals. The what do you call it? This elephant, okay? This beast standing for elephants. When they turn wild, when they get angry, even the most experienced Mahoth is not able to control them. When they are angry, these elephants, when they become wild, wild means angry, they are even the most experienced Mahoth. Mahoth is the owner, okay? One who is taking care of this elephant, that is called Mahoth, okay? M-A-H-O-U-T, Mahoth. Is not able to control them. They are very wild animals, okay? They become wild, very angry. After this prologue is introduction. This is only the introduction, okay? He is starting the story. This story is narrating by whom? You know the first paragraph itself. This is actually Mahendra is telling to Ganesh how Ishwaran would begin the story. So he would begin like this. You know, I come from a very famous, the place I come from is famous for timber, wood. And there are huge trees, richly wooded forest all around. And the logs are so huge that elephants are used to carry the log and to put it in the lorries. These are only the prologue. Prologue is an introduction. And Ishwaran would launch into an elaborate anecdotes involving an elephant. Anecdote, I tell you, this short story about the elephant. He would elaborate. He would bring out, he would explain in such a way. He would elaborate on elephants. Clear? Now you see the story. One day a tusker escaped. Tusker again, elephant. You see, beast, tusker, elephant, all are same. Escaped from the timber yard. Timber yard? From the forest, from the wood, from the yard, and began to roam about, stamping on bushes, tearing up wild creepers, and breaking branches at will, as he wanted, at will. You know, sir, how an elephant behaves when it goes mad? You see, he is beginning the story. You know, sir, how it happens. Iswaran would get so caught up in the excitement of his own story that he would get up from the floor and jump about, stamping his feet in emulation of the mad elephant. Emulation? What is this emulation? Emulation means imitation. Okay, here emulation is to imitate. He would get up and jump. He would stamp his feet on the floor, and he would imitate. Emulation is to imitate this mad elephant, how this elephant was acting. The elephant reached the outskirts of our town, breaking the fences down like matchsticks. For elephant, naturally, to break the fence was like a matchstick, nothing for him. He would continue. Who? Who is he here? Ishwaran. It came into the main road and smashed all the stalls selling fruits, mud pots, and clothes. You see destruction. People ran helter skelter in panic. People ran helter skelter. Helter skelter means here and there. Sorry, here and there. They were running. That is called helter. Here it is helter skelter in panic. Panic is fear. With the panic, with the fear, people were running here and there because it destroyed what? It smashed all the stalls, different stalls like fruit stalls, pot stalls, clothes, all these things. And people they left everything and they were running. The elephant now entered a school ground where children were playing. Can you imagine in your school ground the elephant is entering and then breaking through the brick wall. All the boys ran into the classrooms and shut the doors tight. The beast grunted and wandered about. What is the meaning of grunted? Made noise. That is called grunt. Elephant grunts, we say, no, when we are small. Sound of animals. What the elephant does? It grunts. Okay, where it is? The elephant starts. It grunted, yes. It is grunted and wandered about, looking here and there. This is called wandered about. Pulling out the football goal post, tearing down the volleyball net, kicking and flattening the drum kept for water. Flattening made it flat, leveled it, and uprooting the shrubs. Shrubs are those ferns, the plants. Meanwhile, all the teachers had climbed up to the terrace of the school building. From there, they helplessly watched the depredations of the elephant. Depredation is nothing but then the destruction caused by this elephant, the damage that it did. There was not a soul below on the ground. The streets were empty as if the inhabitants of the entire town had suddenly disappeared. Did you follow? He's telling the second story about the elephant. This elephant once, this mad elephant had escaped from the timber yard and it entered the city. When it entered the city, it started destroying all the stalls, and he broke the fencing like matchsticks. And people started running here and there. At last, this elephant had entered the school ground. And the teachers and the students, they closed themselves, they shut themselves in the classroom, and all the teachers, they went to the terrace and looking there. They were helplessly, they were watching all the damage which was caused by the elephant, and there was no soul, no people on the street, on the ground. It was looking like all the people had suddenly disappeared, naturally, because they were frightened. Now what happened? I was studying in the junior class at that time and was watching the whole drama from the rooftop. He was on the roof of the school. I don't know what came over me suddenly. I grabbed a crane. I grabbed a crane. What is that? I grabbed means I took forcefully, that is called grabbing, from the hands of one of the teachers and ran down the stairs and into the open. The elephant grunted and menacingly swung a branch of a tree which it held in its trunk. Menacingly, it's a harmful manner. That's called menacing. Menacing is here. Here it is. It's a harmful manner. It stamped its feet, kicking up a lot of mud and dust. It looked frightening, but I moved slowly towards it, stick in hand. People were watching the scene, hypnotized from nearby housetops. The elephant looked at me red-eyed, ready to rush towards me. I lifted its trunk and trumpeted loudly. At that moment, I moved forward and, mustering all my force, whacked its third toenail on the quick. The beast looked stunned for a moment, Then it shivered from head to foot and collapsed. You see what he is telling here. When this elephant came to the school, what happened? He was studying in a junior class at that time, and he was watching the whole drama. This is what he is telling. Whether it is true or no, we do not know. Okay, he was watching from the rooftop, on the top of the roof, and he's telling something happened to me. I was watching from the rooftop. All the teachers were there on the roof, and teachers were having stick. And so he's telling from one of the teachers, I pulled the stick, the cane. He's telling he took the cane or the stick and ran down to the staircase to the open to the ground where the elephant was there. He was grunting. Grunt is making noise, and menacingly swung a branch. Simply he moved the branch of a tree which was on his trunk, and it stamped his feet, kicking up lot of mud and dust, and it was so frightening. But he's telling, I moved slowly, and he's telling, I don't know from where I got so much courage, you see. And people were watching from this scene from hypnotized from nearby housetops. Hypnotized, hypnosis. They were just enraptured, we call it, no? Fully onto it. That's called hypnotized. The elephant looked at him and red-eyed. When they are angry, naturally, how do these animals look? With the red-eyed, angry, ready to rush and to kick him. But then he is telling him, mustering meaning gathering all the courage. That is called mustering. Okay, all the force. Whacked its third. Whacked is, what is the meaning of whacked? Whacked is to. Sorry. Whack is to beat. Okay, whack is to beat. Where he beat? Third toenail on the quick. Third toenail on the leg, on the feet. He hit. The beast looked stunned, surprised. Stunned is to surprise. The beast looked very surprisingly, very much surprised. Stunned. Here it is, stunned. Surprised for a moment, then shivered from head to foot and collapsed. Can you imagine, with one stick, he's telling, one stick he gave to the toenail, third toenail, that the beast first he was surprised, and then it collapsed. This is what he says, it collapsed, it fell down. At this point, Iswaran would leave the story unfinished and get up mumbling. Mumbling means just speaking unclearly to himself, slowly. I will be back after lighting the gas and warming up the dinner. Are we understanding? This much story he said. Okay, the elephant collapsed. Then he would say, I will be back. Let me go and light the gas and warm the food for dinner. So he would continue afterwards. Are we understanding? Mahendra, who had been listening with rapt attention, too much into it, would be left hanging. Suspense. Are you understanding? After that, what happened? After collapsing. Then he returned. Iswaran would not pick up the thread of the story right away. Mahendra would have to remind him that the conclusion was pending. Well, a veterinary doctor was summoned to revive the animal. Iswaran would shrug casually. 2 days later, it was led away by its mahout to the jungle. Are you understanding what the type of story that he was telling? You see, Mahendra would have been listening so attentively, but in between he would leave him hanging, and he would get up and go to light the gas to make hot the dinner, preparing. And when he returned, he would forget from where to start. Iswaran had to tell where he had stopped. The conclusion was pending. What is the conclusion? And then he was telling, well, veterinary doctor. Who is a veterinary doctor? One who treats the animals. That is called veterinary. Okay, veterinary doctor. Here you have veterinary doctor is then doctor, animals doctor. We call veterinary doctor. And then he someone is to call to revive the animal. Revive is to heal, to take care of this animal, to revive, to give the good health. Iswaran would shrug casually. Shrug means to shake. Just uninterested. Okay, it happened. Like that, no? The expression. 2 days later, it was led away by its mahout to the jungle. After 2 days, it was led away, or it was sent to the mahout, to the jungle. Well, how did you manage to do it, Ishwaran? How did you bring down the beast? You see, Mahendra would ask, how did you manage to do it, Ishwaran? My God, with one stick, how could you manage to bring this animal down? It has something to do with a Japanese art, I think, sir. Karate or Jujitsu, it is called. I had read about it somewhere. It temporarily paralyzes the nervous system, you see. You see how what type of story he is telling, you understood? Because remember, he was reading always Tamil thriller, and he is telling it has something to do with the art, some trick, you see. Japanese art, he is telling this name, karate or jutitsu, it is called. He is telling it temporarily paralyzes the nervous system. If you beat in a certain point, in this Japanese karate system or what he is talking about, it has some meaning. Our body is all connected, interconnected. You have heard, no, like we call different points you massage and things like that. So if one particular point if you hit, he is telling it will paralyze, it will not able to move. It paralyzes the nervous system, you see. That's why third toenail he has beaten, and so with one stick this huge elephant has collapsed, it got paralyzed. Not a day passed without Iswaran recounting some story packed with adventure, horror, and suspense. You see what type of story he was telling. Adventurous story he would tell, or horror, or suspense. Not a day has passed. Every day he would tell some stories. Whether the story was credible or not. Credible means whether it was a trustworthy or not. Whether it was have some meaning or not, that is not the outlook. Credible. Not that there is a credibility in telling or not. Mahendra enjoyed listening to it because of the inimitable way in which it was told. Inimitable means which cannot be copied. Original way of telling the story. The way it was told, nobody could imitate or copy. That is called inimitable. Iswaran seemed more than make up for the absence of a TV in Mahendra's living quarters. You see, another reason why Mahendra would be listening to him very, very interestingly, why he enjoyed listening to this story was that he did not have any source of enjoyment, no mobile, no television. Naturally, only entertainment was Iswaran, and he would tell the story every day. Again, you see, one more story is coming here. One morning, when Mahendra was having breakfast, Iswaran asked, "Can I make something special for dinner tonight, sir?" You see, telling, "Can I make something special today for night?" Because he will not meet him. Only for breakfast he meets and only at night. After all, today is an auspicious day, something very special day. According to tradition, we prepare various delicacies to feed the spirits of our ancestors today, sir. It's not new thing for Indian culture. There are some special days when we feed our ancestors, our forefathers, our great grandparents, those who have died. Okay, so that day, today prepare something very special. That night, Mahendra enjoyed the most delicious dinner and complimented Iswaran on his culinary skills. What are these culinary skills? Where it is gone in your... Yes, culinary skill means cooking skill. That day, naturally, he had prepared something very, very special for dinner, and he enjoyed and he complimented. Complimented meaning he praised, he expressed that you have done well. That's called complimenting. He seemed very pleased, very happy, but unexpectedly launched into a most garish account involving the supernatural. He was very happy, very pleased because Mahendra complimented him, he praised him, thanked him that for his delicious food, for his culinary skills. But unexpectedly, he came into a most garish account, disturbing, something very, very fearful story about supernatural. Okay, now he's starting the story, you see. That night, sir, this entire factory area we are occupying was once a burial ground. He started. And that's the place that we have occupied now. We are staying. Once upon a time, it was a burial ground. Burial ground means what? Where the dead bodies are cremated or buried. That's called burial ground. Mahendra was jerked out. Jerked out means simply he was moved out of the pleasant reverie. Reverie is a daydream. He was very happy, and now suddenly, the place where we are occupied is once it was a burial ground. He had drifted into after the satisfying meal. He was so happy, first of all, remember, such a delicious food he had, and he was sitting on the chair, and so suddenly he jerked, listening to this story that the factory where we are here is once upon a time it was a burial ground. And now he is starting. I knew on the first day itself when I saw a human skull lying on the path. Even now I come across a number of skulls and bones. Iswaran continued. You see, I knew, sir, this place is a very haunted place because it is a burial place, because the first day itself I saw a human skull, no, the dead, after the dead, our head, that's called skull. It was lying on the path. Even now I come across a number of skulls and bones, he's telling. On this path when I walk, lot of skulls and bones are on the path. This is what he started telling the story. Okay, next page. You see how Iswaran is walking there. He went on to narrate how he sometimes saw ghosts at night. I am not easily frightened by these things, sir. I am a brave fellow. But one horrible ghost of a woman which appears off and on at midnight during the full moon, it is an ugly creature which, with matted hair and a shriveled face, like a skeleton holding a fetus in his arms. You see what he is telling? I am not frightened. I am not easily frightened. He is telling, many times I see the ghost at night. And I am not frightened easily because I am a brave fellow. But then one horrible ghost of a woman frightens him, because which appears off and on at midnight, and when? During the full moon time. Because this woman is a very ugly creature, he is telling. It's a very ugly creature with matted hair. Matted hair means, matted, the folded hair. And a shriveled face, wrinkled face, old woman. And a skeleton holding a fetus in its arm, like a skeleton, very thin woman. Fetus is a before birth of a child, we call fetus. In his arm, he is carrying a fetus. Naturally, it's something you try to imagine. A thin woman carrying a child, a fetus, dead body. Mahendra shivered. Shivered means shaking, out of fear at the description, and interrupted rather sharply. You are crazy. Interrupted means stopped. After this much he has finished. Remember, story is not started, not ended. You are crazy. That means you are mad, Iswaran is telling. There are no such things as ghosts or spirits. It is all a figment of your imagination. Figment is imagination, okay? Get your digestive system examined, and maybe your head as well. You are talking nonsense. You see, he started scolding. These are all nonsense. There is no such thing exist. No spirits or ghosts. He scolded Iswaran this time, first time. All this time actually he was interested in listening stories of Iswaran, but then now he got upset with him. He left the room and retired for the night, expecting Iswaran to sulk for a couple of days. Sulk means not to talk, becoming moody. That's called sulking. But the next morning he was surprised to find the cook as cheerful and talkative as ever. You see, he scolded him and they went to sleep, and Mahendra expected that Iswaran would be unhappy. He would be feeling bad. He will not talk next day. That's called sulking. Many times you become moody. That's called sulk. L is silent, suck. Okay. So he thought, but the next day morning, same. He was cheerful, very happy, and very talkative as ever, as if nothing has happened. From that day on, Mahendra, for all his brave talk, went to bed with a certain unease. Every night he peered into the darkness outside, through the window next to his bed, trying to make sure that there was no movement of dark shapes in the vicinity. But he could only see a sea of darkness with the twinkling lights of the factory miles away. You see, he had heard this story. Now, from that day on, Mahendra, whenever he goes to sleep, he was feeling uneasy, some uneasiness. Naturally, in his mind, this thought was going on, coming. Every night he was peering. Peered? What is the meaning of peered? Sorry. Peered, where it is in this page. He peered. Every night he peered. Okay, peered is to peep through the night. Peeping, through the window. He was looking outside into the darkness through the window next to his bed. He was trying to make sure that there was no movement of dark shapes. There is nothing. He wanted to make it sure. In the vicinity means close proximity, close area. That close by area there is no movement. But he could only see sea of darkness. But he could see only darkness with twinkling lights of the factory miles away. Only the the factory lights were simply twinkling. Little light was coming out from the factories. That's all. Nothing he could see. But then he was going to sleep with some uneasiness, some fear in his mind. We will continue tomorrow. Read and come so that it will be easier. Okay. Thank you, students. Have a nice day.